Hi, welcome back. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about what to do when you return home from the shooting range and you have a lot of data, what you can do or what you should do with those data. Of course, you need to record them, store them, arrange them, process them, analyze them. And one of the best tools that is available for the job is Microsoft Excel. This is what you can see on my screen. This is what I'm using. And this is a simple Excel spreadsheet called shooting logbook. I try to name all my files to be meaningful, just like these tabs within the spreadsheet. So in this very simple example, I only have one tab, one sheet, where I could have, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 10, even more. And I always try to name the sheets to be meaningful. So in this case, it is 65 Creedmoor, Stubble, 143 ELDX. So if I had like 10 sheets, I would know what data they contain straight away without having to click on each of them. So let's have a look what we have in this Excel. In this section on the top left corner, I have some very basic information about my own rifle. Just to clarify, this is not my rifle. Okay, so all these data are just for the sake of this video. Nothing is real except maybe the semi specs, but that's again caliber specific. So if you download this spreadsheet and you want to use it for your own cartridge, your own rifle, your own ammunition, you need to change that. So I record the manufacturer and the make of my rifle, the caliber, 65 Creedmoor in this case, very important. At what distance my rifle is zeroed at. In this case, it's 100 yards. I have the CBTO here for my cartridge, the cartridge overall length, and the length of the magazine. Below that, I already mentioned I have the same specs, including pressure, the shoulder size, headspace, case length, etc., etc. Next section is the actual data for your own cartridge. So in this case, let's suppose I used large rifle primer 5341 RWS. For powder, I use Winchester Stubble 6.5, Lapua Brass, Hornady ELDX bullet, and then I record some additional data here. Bullet weight, average 143.1 grain. This is an average. I measured like 10 to 20 bullets and I calculate the average, and this is what I record here. So a 143 grain bullet is actually 143.1 grain, which is pretty good. Next is the bullet length, which is in this case 1.433 inches. Headspace, my CBTO, my cartridge overall length, and some more data, including neck thickness. I use my caliper to measure neck thickness around the case at several places, and I type in the average here. Similarly, I record the neck tension. It's very easy to calculate. Basically, what you do is you measure the neck size, the neck diameter of your resized brass, and then measure it again once the bullet is seated, and the difference between those two numbers will be your neck tension. Then I measure the bullet runout. This is 0.001 in this example, which is pretty good. Then I have the trim length. So if I need to trim the case as part of the case preparation, I store that number here. And then I have the bullet seating depth, and the bullet jump. And then I'm going to skip next section for now and scroll down to the main part of the spreadsheet. What you see here is in column A is the number of the reloads for that brass. In this case, it was a brand new brass, and it was the very first time I loaded them. Column B is the load in grains, starting from 40.8 and going up to 42.6. Basically, I just typed in 40.8, and then from there, I just add 0.2 to the previous cell. So it's very easy to keep the ladder consistent. Column C is a calculated value for the same charge, but instead of grains, it displays the load, the charge in grams. Now, all the numbers that you see in this spreadsheet with red color, those are calculated values. So everything that is black, I type them in. Everything that is red, that's a calculated value. Next section here, columns D, E, F, G are the group size data. So distance 100 yards, you can see here, and for 100 yards, my group size happened to be center to center. They are like 1.242 inches, 0.383 inches, etc., etc. Basically, you just type in your measured group size, and based on that, this spreadsheet will calculate the group size in millimeters, in milliradians, and MOAs. Okay. Again, if you shoot to 200 yards, then you need to change this number because that's taken into consideration. Next section, muzzle velocity in feet per second, columns H to L. So basically, this is the part where you record your muzzle velocity. I have 5 columns here. If you need more, it's very easy to add more columns. If you shoot less than 5, then you simply leave as many empty as you wish. So if you only shot, let's say 3, you shot a group of 3, you type the 3 values in, and you leave shot 4 and shot 5 empty. And based on these values, we have a calculated value, a calculated average in feet per second, and in column M. And in column N, you can see a percentage. That percentage is, if I go up this section, what you can see in cell J1 is the maximum safe speed, safe velocity in feet per second. I always like to keep it handy, so I always have a good, visibility on it. And basically, column N is a percentage. So your average is, in this case, 95.52% of your safe maximum velocity. Just for the sake of this example, I added some data here that actually exceeds 100%. That can happen. But that's more like the exception, not the rule. Okay. Next section is, once we have the average, we can easily calculate in column O and column P the extreme spread and standard deviation. Extreme spread, if I click on it, you can see the function here on the top. It's basically the difference between the largest value and the lowest value. So the difference between max and min values. Calculate standard deviation. I simply use the built-in stdev function. And I also record a few more information here. I always take notes at the shooting range. So I have the temperature data, humidity, pressure, elevation, And well, these are for the the environment variables and environmental variables. Sorry, and I also add a note here to remind myself where I get that load from. If it's the gunpowder manufacturer's website, I put that here. If it's the bullet manufacturer's mobile application, I add that here. But I always have a reference to remind myself this is the place where I got that data from. And then last column is notes. It can be anything. I usually just add the date when I was on a shooting range, and I can always look back and see straight away when that particular load was tested at the shooting range. And then if I scroll back up, what we see here is, as you can see, 41.0 grain is highlighted with green. So for the sake of this example, I assume this is my best load. This is where I'm shooting. This is the best. This is the load that I'm happy with. So I calculate the normal distribution for that load. How do I do that? So for load 41, I have 5 velocity data. Okay, what I need to do is I need to have these 5 values. I need to have the average and I need to have standard deviation. So what I do here is I calculate normal distribution using Excel's built-in norm.dist function, and I need to provide a few arguments. Argument 1 is my muzzle velocity, cell H23. So that's going to be 2552, as it is highlighted now. Next argument is cell M23, which is our average. Then the third argument is P23, which is our standard deviation. And the fourth, the last argument is it can be either true or false. In this case, I said false because I don't want the computation to be cumulative. And that gives me the normal distribution belonging to shot 1. I repeat the calculation for shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, and shot 5. And at this point, I have 5 normal distribution values. Then what you can see here is a graph showing the normal distribution for our SD. As you can see, this is not a bell curve. This is not a symmetrical graph. This is an asymmetric graph. It's because the underlying data is not symmetric. It is asymmetric. And if I just to show you what a bell curve would look like, I need to change the underlying data to make it symmetric. So let's say our measured muzzle velocity was 2,500 FPS, next shot was 2,600, and then 2,700, 2,800, and 2,900. As you can see, every time when I changed a data, the graph also changed. So it reflected the changes to the underlying data. If I do this, this is a symmetric data distribution, and this is called a bell curve. If we had a bigger peak, that would really look like a bell, but this is really symmetric data, and it is called a bell curve. And what are the properties of a bell curve? Is there is the empirical rule, which states that if you have the mean value here in the middle, that's going to be your mean value, then 68% of your data will be within 1 SD. 95% of your data, or the majority of your data, will be within 2 SDs, and almost all of your data, 99.7%, will be within 3 SDs. Okay, that's a statistics. That's a statistical function, and that doesn't really happen when it comes to shooting, simply because your muzzle velocities do not come up like 2500, 2600, 2700. So the distribution will not be symmetrical. If I change the data back for all the 5 shots, this is a more realistic curve. Okay. Basically, that's what we have in this Excel spreadsheet. If you already use one and you're happy with it, that's great. That's brilliant. If you don't use it yet, or you would like to use one but you just don't have one, feel free to download it from the description of this video. And thanks for being with me. I hope you liked the video. If you enjoyed it, please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a million for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.